Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Dr. Cleopatra. Hi, team. Can you stop the video? Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Let me make sure the chat is enabled. Okay. Hi, everybody. Come say hello in the chat. I want to hear who's here. Tell us a little bit about what you're joining for today, what your intention is. Tell us where you're joining from. Hi, Mama Julie. Hi, Mama Jasmine. Hello, hello. So also let me know I just want to see the assortment of people we have here. So let me know if you are ready for your super baby, or you've already completed your family and you're here because you want to focus on creating an intentional family culture. Let me know a little bit about yourselves professionally. So are you an entrepreneur? Are you a women's health entrepreneur specifically? Are you a professor on the tenure track? Are you making partner at a law firm? Tell us a little bit about where you're joining from and who you are, so I can keep that in mind as we're going through the slides today. And of course, I will be taking questions as we go. We're going to be doing some shares as we go. So today's a very different type of workshop than we normally do. It's really interactive, and you're going to be doing some work here on the workshop because I want to give you a very good framework that you have to take away with you and complete, so that basically you have your year mapped out and all you have to do is follow the plan. It's much easier when we take the time to be really intentional about who we want to be, how we want to feel, how we want to live, what we want the dynamic within our families to be. And then we are really concrete about that, and then we just need to work the plan. Of course, everything doesn't go as planned, but when we have the plan to work, it helps to ensure that things do go as desired a lot more often. So that's the whole point of today's workshop. We do this once a year at most. I think we actually didn't do this workshop last year, and I wasn't really planning to do it again this year, but we got a lot of requests for it from people in our community who have been with us for a long time. So I was really excited to be able to come and bring this to you today. So let me see. We have Mama Christina from New Jersey. Mama Stephanie, hello, grieving. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mama Stephanie. I'm so sorry to hear that. Please, if you want, write a little bit more about what's happening, even if you want to just write it to me privately. I'm so sorry, but I'm so happy that you're here. Crystal's here from the team. Marina, aloha from Hawaii. Hello, I've been thinking of you guys so much. I want to hear updates. Mama Kim from South Africa, welcome. Mama Jasmine is parenting, an entrepreneur and social worker. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in our community and our email list because we've done some surveys, and we have a lot of women's health entrepreneurs. We also have a lot of professors and PhDs and academics, and I think that both of those things line up with my own demographics, right? Because I have a PhD, I did a postdoctoral fellowship, I've done 28 plus years of research. I have had almost $3 million in funding from the NIH and the National Science Foundation. I have dozens of peer-reviewed scientific publications, and I've been cited in over 2,500 peer-reviewed scientific papers, which is really exciting, scientific studies, which is really exciting. So I think because of that, I seem to attract a lot of professors, a lot of academics, and also a lot of entrepreneurs. Let's see, Mama Jasmine's coming from Tennessee. Mama Julie, Women's Health NP, and want to help future mamas. So good. Mama Jasmine has a parenting business. Mama Julie, looking forward to creating a vision, primestering now for my first at 45. Woo! you. Yes, Mama Julie. I know I've been watching you, so proud of you. And Mama Julie's a corporate professional. Mama Nuzaira. Oh, you were here last time and I wanted to make sure I said your name correctly. I think was it Nuzaira? Or I think so, but remind me if I did that wrong. Entrepreneur and IP law firm owner. Wonderful, Mama. So awesome. Mama Kim, I'm an executive assistant, 42 and primestering for my first super baby. Yes. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to compile I put out a call just yesterday. It wasn't a lot of advance notice, but for people to send us updated videos and pictures of their super babies if we haven't seen them for years and they've been around for years. So I forgot to compile that. Anyway, we'll sprinkle them in the emails that follow. I can't believe I did that. I was so excited to bring them to you. That just reminded me. Mama Diane, want inspiration to create a vision for our family. I've been trying for a couple years. Okay, Mama Diane, welcome. Mama Chanel from North Carolina, so ready for my super baby. I'm an entrepreneur, trying to be a full-time entrepreneur. I own an inspirational clothing brand. How exciting. So ready to create this vision board for my family. So excited. Okay, I said it right. Mama Nuzaira. Okay, let's keep going and feel free to keep dropping some, those of you who haven't introduced yourself yet, please feel free to put more info in the chat. Okay, let's get going because we have a lot to do today, all right? So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, all right. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We are going to follow a very specific process. This is a process that my husband Jair and I started in our first year of marriage, which was 2012. And I was pregnant with our first super baby, Luxor. And we wanted to create a new family tradition for how we went into a new year. We've been doing it every year since then, and we've since then taught this process to thousands of couples and families. It's really, we just do it as a service for our community, but it's such a joy to do it. So what we're going to do today is I want to put in context for you why having a clear vision is so important for your fertility, for your pregnancy experiences, and for the culture that you build in your family. And then I'm going to go through a series of very specific steps with you. So first, we're going to create what I call your super family vision blueprint and your vision statement. And I'm going to explain all of this so you don't have to know what it is. Then we're going to start to create a framework for your vision board, which is going to be the physical representation of your blueprint and vision statement. And then I'm going to teach you about something really special I added into our process this year that has been such a revelation for us. And I want to make sure that you have this too. It's really exciting. Then I'm going to talk to you a little bit, just very quickly at the end, about how do you organize your internal world to support your vision, because that's often where the error comes in. Okay. Sorry, my slides don't look very pretty. Let's see if I can do this. No, that didn't work either. Okay, I'm just going to keep it where it was, but apologies. Actually, maybe I can do this, that they don't look so beautiful. No, that didn't work either. Let's see. Okay, that's all right. All right, so this is us on our wedding day. We eloped, we got married on the Mediterranean Sea overlooking Africa. It was really beautiful. And this is our super family. This picture is several years old now. So these beautiful humans are much older. And here's, it's remarkable how much living we as a couple and as a family put into every single year. I feel like every year we live lifetimes, or at least it feels that way to me, in a good way, not in a bad way. And we've created so much. I mean, so much. And I'm just going to give you a few really quick examples of the things that we've created that mean the most to me. So we have built this company and other companies that have grown from this company. We have made this beautiful human Luxor lion who is just shaping up to be the most amazing soccer player, football player, and is signed with the elite Benfica Academy and is on his way to his academy contract in the fall. It's another level of academy and just doing amazing things already at 11 years old. Oh, these are out of order. This is our Sultana Bliss, also doing such amazing things. In a couple weeks, I'm going to Germany with this amazing human because she and her dance team were selected to participate in this amazing dance competition. So, and then this is Apollo Golden. He's now 6 years old. And he also is absolutely in love with football, training with Benfica, playing for another team, doing amazing. So to me, I mean, we've created so much, but these three humans and the growth of our mission at FPI and Super Baby Nutraceuticals is really, these are the things that have meant the most to me, that mean the most to me. And of course, our love. I mean, our love just is the guiding light in my life. My love with my husband and our love within our family and our shared love of our super babies. I mean, that could be a whole other session on another day. And I've said this before, which is be willing to go to uncommon lengths for your super babies, to have them, to raise them, and for the life that you dream of, because it will set you apart. Most people are not willing to go to uncommon lengths, even for things that they love more than anything, and especially not for themselves. They're afraid to invest in themselves. They're afraid to invest in their families. They're afraid to look foolish. They're afraid to make mistakes. And especially when you want to achieve uncommon results, and those of us having our super babies in our 30s, 40s, and beyond, we're seeking to achieve uncommon results, to have them in the first place and to have them be incredibly healthy in mind, body, and spirit. So I won't spend more time on this, but be willing to do whatever it takes to go to uncommon lengths. And I assure you that that is something I do every single day and never shy away from. All right, so let's dive in, okay, everybody? Thank you, Mama Erica. I appreciate that so much. Okay, I'm so glad the slides look good. We're okay now, everybody, with the slides? I really need to upgrade my slide game. I really need to have somebody else make slides for me, because my slides are not, the content is amazing, but the aesthetics are not so amazing. So, all right. So you are what you eat, how you live, and what you think. And the radical truth is that your children and your grandchildren and their children are what you eat, how you live, and what you think too. So we want to make that good. And that is critically important. That's why we focus so much on the trimester, which is the 120 days at least leading up to conception. It can be longer, because during that window, we have a critical opportunity to modify and improve the expression of our genes, what's called our epigenetics, and how that gene expression gets passed down across generations, which is called epigenetic inheritance. And we're the only place in the world that uses the science of epigenetics for fertility and pregnancy and the intergenerational transmission of health, having our super babies, our super grandbabies. And we really, really do something amazing that no other practitioner place in the world does, which is we leverage two key we leverage a lot of epigenetic mechanisms, but I would say the umbrella mechanisms for what we do are psychogenomics and nutrigenomics. So on the nutrigenomic side, that's how our nutritional inputs through food and supplementation affect our gene expression and the inheritance of our epigenome. And then psychogenomics is how our personality and other types of psychological characteristics and psychological HPA axis feedback loops affect our gene expression and the inheritance of our epigenome. These are so, so important. And it's, we need to be talking about this because people don't have a clear understanding. And yet the impact is so tremendous. It's so tremendous today, throughout this lifetime, and for many lifetimes to come. So it's really worth knowing, understanding, and making the most of. We're not going to be perfect. We're not here to be perfect, but we know better. And when we know better, we do our best to do better. So epi means above, and epigenetics literally means above genetics or on top of the genes. These are marks, biochemical tags, and marks that get left on top of the gene. So it doesn't change the DNA, it doesn't change the sequence, but it changes the way that our genes express themselves. And it's really, you can think of it almost like a, a light switch that also has a dimmer. So if you walk into a room, you can flip the switch on and you can flip the switch off, and you can also dim the lights, and then you can dial the lights back up, undim them, right? That's how epigenetics works, and that's how gene expression works, okay? And so that's what we are doing when we're primestering, and as part of our primester, we're taking our nutrients, we're following the fertile food pyramid, for example, our nutritional gifts. If you're in the primester protocol, you understand all of those things. If you're not primestering, maybe you don't understand all of those things, but I bet all of you are taking supplements. And the reason I know this is because it's really interesting. I didn't initially, when I started doing this work 28 and a half years ago now, I never intended to start a supplement line. Even though it's really interesting, when I think back, I've always used supplements myself. Even though I was very poor growing up, I used supplements when I was growing up, which is really interesting. And that wasn't a common thing when I was growing up. I was born in 1978. And I was also really obsessed with researching supplements and researching nutritional and other types of natural therapies for feeling better, living better. And then once I started to informally work with women, helping them get pregnant when I was still a little girl, researching how to help them. When I started doing this work formally in 1996, what I tried to do was to research the existing supplements, because everybody wanted to take supplements, and that trend has grown tremendously over time. So much so that now, I believe the latest data point I saw was that 97% of people who are pregnant are taking prenatal vitamins. So it's becoming very common. It's become very common to use prenatal vitamins and supplements for fertility. But everybody would come to me and say, Dr. C, which supplement should I be taking? Which brand should I be taking? And it was overwhelming. I was always trying to research the existing supplements. I was trying to put together all these different formulations for them, using lots of different brands, lots of different bottles, etc. And then it was usually very imperfect, but also brands would change their formulations. So when I thought this is a safe brand, I would go back and look, and it was no longer a safe brand, and all of these things. So it was about 10 or 15 years ago that I decided we've got to make our own supplements. Like, this is it. I want to make them exactly the way that they need to be made, with the exact forms, the exact doses, in the exact combinations and synergistic formulations, with the manufacturing processes that I want, without the things that I don't want, all of the fillers, the excipients, the flow agents, the food coloring, the synthetic colors, all the things. And so that was the point at which we started to embark on creating our own supplements. But it was really in response to the need. It was in response to the constant requests for me to evaluate what supplements people should be taking and always having an imperfect answer for them. So because of that history, I know very well that the majority of you are taking supplements. So you're aware of that. You're aware on some, you may have never heard of the word of nutrigenomics, but you're aware on some level that nutrients are one of the most important things that you could be doing to support your fertility and pregnancy and having a healthy baby, and really your overall mental and physical health and longevity, right? So, okay. So let me just show you really quickly. Okay, Mama Erica, can you please explain a bit more about the HPA axis and how it plays into fertility and epigenetics? Okay, so this is a very important part of the trimester protocol. It's also a foundation for one of the many foundations for how I've developed our Super Baby nutraceuticals formulations. Oh, by the way, let me just tell you really quickly that we are now 8 days away from pre-order for super sperm and testosterone support. Now, we are, and so in 8 days, we're going to open up pre-order to our full list of 62,700 and some odd mamas, okay? Now, before then, in the next couple of days, we are going to do a pre-order for our mamas who are already primestering and or are already using our Super Baby nutraceuticals so that they get first access. So if you want to be one of them, put your name in the chat. You can do that privately to host some panelists, because we're creating a list and we will open the access to this group of people first. There will also be some ways that this group of people, those who are already on certain subscriptions, will be able to benefit financially as well. So for example, if you already have a complete mama and dada bundle, then we are going to honor your current subscription price, even though the super sperm and testosterone support is so much more expensive than the dada portion of the complete mama and dada bundle. So if you already have the complete mama and dada bundle, or you have the ultimate egg and sperm collection, you're going to be grandfathered in. And if you have one of those subscriptions, but you have paused it or canceled it, you will have a very short period of time to be able to, what's the word, activate it and lock in the subscription price that you were grandfathered at the time that you originally subscribed. So that's very important. It's a very big financial incentive. Now, we don't know if we'll be able to do that indefinitely, because there's not enough margin to do that for a large number of people. But we are going to try, we're going to do this for at least 6 months for the people who already have subscriptions. And at that point, we'll have to reevaluate if it's feasible financially to continue. But know that our desire and intention is to continue to honor your existing subscription price, and we commit to doing that for at least 6 months, and then we have to reevaluate at that time to make sure that we can sustain it. Okay. All right. So I'm really, really excited to bring you this. Like super egg support, there is nothing on the planet like it. It is the most powerful. It is the most meticulously formulated to be comprehensive and also have the depth. So it has an incredibly wide range of nutrients, each of which covers different things. And it has synergistic doses. It was carefully dosed, just like super egg support, to give you short-term benefits and also to be safe for long-term use. There are so many details that went into consideration for the final formulation. I started with more than 1,000 nutrients that were up for consideration for this formulation. And there were very specific details that went into each nutrient that made the cut and each nutrient that didn't make the cut. For example, there's one nutrient that has really good research behind it for improving endogenous internal production of testosterone, which is not just really important for how a man feels and behaves, motivation, so many things, health, insulin resistance versus sensitivity, and so many other things. But it's critical for fertility because you need enough testosterone in order to have the right hormonal environment to support the production and proper development of sperm. Okay, so this is really important. So there's one nutrient. This is just an example of the many considerations that went into the final formula that is there's nothing in the world like it. It is so I'm just like Super Egg Support. I'm beyond proud of this formulation. Just like Super Egg Support, our Super Multi Foundations. I mean, these things are just completely taking over the fertility supplement and prenatal vitamin market, both for the consumer and clinically, because they truly are medical grade, therapeutic, and there's nothing like them in the world. But this particular nutrient has really good data to support its ability to support endogenous production of sperm, or pardon me, of testosterone. The problem is that it's only studied and used for very short term. I'm talking like 2 weeks. Okay, and its benefits are only seen in that very short term period. So there was no way, and then there's not enough understanding of whether the benefits continue beyond that period. And there's also a possibility that there's harm after that period. So even though there's a benefit in the first 10 to 14 days, if it couldn't be put into the formulation because we don't know if it's going to continue to have a benefit beyond that period. And it's also possible that it has an adverse effect beyond that period. So these are this is the depth of consideration, testing, research, development that went into the selection of the nutrients in this formulation, just like all of our other formulations. Okay. All right. So for those of you who I think that this is really important for those of you who have Super Egg Support, you have the Ultimate Egg and Sperm Collection, or you have or had Super Egg Support, the Ultimate Egg and Sperm Collection, or the Complete Mama and Dad Bundle, or some combination thereof. It's very important that you, if you have your subscription on pause or canceled, that you talk to us about this in this pre-order period. Okay. All right. So let me continue to go, but I just want to make sure you saw that announcement that we sent out on Monday, and that there's a group of people for whom we will give for very first access before we open it to the full list. Okay. All right, so within the Primester protocol, we talk a lot about the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenocortical axis, and the thyroid and the gonads are also on that axis. So you sometimes hear like the gonadal axis for females, that's the ovaries. For males, that's the testes. This is also how our psychology and our fertility share feedback loops through this axis. And you can think of this axis as our body's stress response system, as well as the orchestrator of our hormones and our hormonal balance. And so it's very, very important that this axis is working properly to ensure that the feedback loops between our psychology and our fertility are supportive rather than disruptive. So when people talk about, having high cortisol or adrenal fatigue, or they have thyroid disorders because TSH is actually a pituitary hormone, which most people don't know, or they're not producing enough of certain reproductive or sex hormones. That is often originating in the brain and in these particular sections of the brain, and is working or not working so well through this axis. So I cover this in tremendous detail in the Primester protocol. So I highly, highly recommend, if you're not primestering already, get in there, because this is the kind of information you want to know, and you want to know what to do about it so that it is working better. And I'm going to tell you that just for the sake of brevity, so we can continue with our process, that what it comes down to ultimately is sending signals of safety to the brain, the body, the ovaries, and the reproductive tract, especially the birth canal, the vagina. Okay, so this is how we do it. We do this through the HPA axis. All right, so that's why it's so very important, because every experience we have has a biochemical underpinning or signal. Most of us are living in a state of chronic stress and emergency and trauma, and that's sending signals that are the opposite of safety. That's sending signals of survival, not safety. When the brain and the body and the ovaries and the vagina perceive signals of survival, they perceive threats to our safety and threats to our ability to survive, then what happens is that reproduction gets put on the back burner, just like immunity gets put on the back burner, digestion gets put on the back burner. Ovulation can be compromised. Menstrual irregularities happen. It's harder to get pregnant. It's harder to stay pregnant. It's harder to give birth. The birth process can often end up becoming very long with lots of stalling, which often begets interventions, which beget more intervention, and it kind of creates a spiral. It's harder to produce breast milk. It's harder for the baby to end up being neurocognitively and emotionally healthy, and all of those things. So it has this very, very long lasting effect, and this axis and the biochemical signals it's sending of either safety or survival are shaping our gene expression. So that's how the HPA axis is related to our fertility, directly related to our fertility, and also related to our biological age and to our epigenetics, our gene expression. I just said a lot, and it's high level information, but all of it is broken down in the Primester, and I walk you through very specific daily practices as well as exercises so that you can address this. Okay. All right. So by the way, we call this the fertility, pregnancy, and parenting pyramid, and this is the kind of the guide that we use in the Primester protocol to address our gene expression and our biological age to improve fertility and pregnancy and intergenerational health outcomes. So and by the way, at this level is where vision comes in, at the psychosexual level, but also what we were just talking about, the HPA axis comes in here, the psychology, fertility, feedback loops. However, the HPA axis essentially runs through all of the levels of the pyramid, which happens in many cases. Sometimes we create these distinctions so that it's easier for people to understand, but to some degree the distinctions are artificial because they're so intertwined, just like mental and physical health. We talk about them as if they're two different things, but they're so intertwined, right? And they also are feedback loops for one another. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. Let me just check. Do I have everybody? Yes, Mama Erica. So especially look at module 1, 3, 5. I mean, really all of them have, but 1, 3, 5, and also 7 are really important for this. Okay. All right. So let's get going, everybody. So we're going to start with step 1, which is our superfamily vision blueprint. So this is a document that paints a bright, detailed, clear, sensory positive emotion stacked picture of what your super family will look and feel like in 1 year, as if it's already happened in the present tense. All right. So this is the definition of your super family vision blueprint. And what I really want to get across is that we have these two competing realities in our lives. One is one that most of us forget on a daily basis as we're worrying and fretting and being fearful and all the things, which is that what you want wants you to. The other reality, and this is what often opposes receiving or living what we want, even though it wants us to, is that we get in life what we tolerate, not what you get in life, what you tolerate, not necessarily what you want. So the task then is to make sure that what we want and what we are tolerating, what we are willing to tolerate, whether we're aware of it or not, are the same thing. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on today, making sure that what we want and what we tolerate are one and the same, so that we get to live the experiences that we want to live. Most of us are walking around tolerating realities that are far inferior to what we want, because we don't feel a sense of worthiness, we don't feel a sense of belonging, we don't feel supported, we don't feel accepted, or our central nervous system, of which the HPA axis is a part, is so conditioned to live in that state of lack, of fight or flight, of uncertainty, of fear, of stress, of all of those things. And it's almost like we have to break the habit or pattern of being ourselves in order to change what we're willing to tolerate so that it matches up with what we want. Okay. All right. So let's get going. So what we're going to be doing in the blueprint is making your desires and goals, which can feel really abstract, making them concrete. It's like a blueprint for a house. So it ensures that you are clear about what it is that you want and what you value and what you want to prioritize, but that also that everyone involved is on the same page. And that includes your subconscious mind, because as I just said, we believe that we are asking for what we want when really we are often living what we tolerate, right? So that's a disparity that happens between the mind and the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is very overused today, but in essence, it's really just the body. All right. So in your blueprint, you want to use very strong sensory words, because the sensory words that also include very positive words and positive emotion are what your body will remember, your body and your brain will remember and will hook into and will look to confirm. Okay. So one thing that's really interesting about the way that the brain works is that we have these mental shortcuts that we use, and they're called schema. And the brain uses them to understand the very complex world around us and all of the many signals and pieces of information that are coming in. So the brain sees a dog, it might not know the type of dog, but it knows it's a dog. It sees cars, it knows it's a car, right? So the thing is that we want the brain to create mental shortcuts that support what we want in our super family vision blueprint. And often it's not working that way for us yet, but we have the ability, by being intentional and through repetition, to get closer to that. All right. So let's keep going here. So we're going to talk about 9 areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, material, business and career, family, relationships, and time. Let me just take a quick look. Is everybody okay so far? Everybody following me? Yeah, it looks like okay. It looks like this is mainly things that people are needing in the chat, like the sperm formula, prime mestering, etc. Okay. All right. If you have questions for me, let me know. Let me take a quick sip of water here, mamas. Thanks, team. And I've said this on our last 2 live community sessions. Make sure you get what you need while we're here together today, with the exception of we can't open the pre-order just yet, but it will be within the next 24 or 48 hours that we will open the pre-order for the super sperm and testosterone support. So let us get you what you need here on the session, so we make sure you leave with what you need today, okay? All right. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. So I'm just wrote a couple of examples of each of the 9 areas. So your blueprint is your North Star. Everything that you do should be lining up with your North Star. Every decision you make, does it take us closer to our North Star, or does it take us away from our North Star? We do this in FPI as a business. We do this in our family, our team Camper Vein. This is really, really important, because if you don't have a North Star, life will pull you all over the place. Your emotions will pull you all over the place. Other people's agendas will pull you all over the place. You have got to know. We talk in the Primester protocol about this concept of mommy mindedness. And it's really about how once you have your super babies out in the world with you, you become laser focused. You become so much more clear about your priorities, preferences, and values. And that really helps you to say, this isn't for me. This is for me. You stop running around trying to please everybody. You stop trying to be everything to everyone. And if we had the ability to use that mommy mindedness before our super babies were out in the world with us, while we're primestering, then we would be even more prepared for parenting. So this helps us to be more mommy minded, because we know what our North Star is, and we make decisions for ourselves, our family, and our life accordingly. So when we talk about the physical domain of life, for example, you could be talking about your biological age, having younger eggs. If those are your goals, what are you doing to achieve those things? Mental. So this is an example from my life. I'm really into studying AI applications for our database, meaning not our database as in people, our database as in the database of knowledge that I've created, so that it's more usable in real time. My goal is that in the near future, there's an app that is on your phone, and your phone is in your bag, and your Dr. C, what do I do about this right now? And there's an immediate answer, and emotionally intelligent, supportive, but also practical answer for you, so that you have the guide right there. So I'm obsessed with learning, how do we do this? Because we have such an enormous database from 28 plus years. Oh my gosh. And we just need to find the right way to catalog everything and make it so. So then also, I really love learning languages. And right now, because I've spent the last few years learning to speak Portuguese really well, I haven't been using Spanish very much. And then I've been taking meetings in Spanish recently, and I'm not doing very good at going back and forth between Portuguese and Spanish. So I want to get to a place where and forth between Portuguese and Spanish as it is for me to, go to English, etc. So those are just examples from my life. What do you want to be emotionally? Clear on what you want, but agile in how you get there, and flexible in how you cope with the ups and downs of life. Spiritual, seeking validation from your source or your inner world, yourself, rather than from outside. Material, this is another example from our life, setting up custodial IRAs for each of our super babies, saving a down payment for a new house in a new city, since we know we'll be moving to a new city. over the summer. Business and career, create the planet's most powerful solutions for eradicating fertility challenges and making healthier children. That's my mission. How do you do that? We do that through the trimester and through our nutrient formulations. Family. So for most of you, fertility is a goal. For some of you, you've already completed your family, but you're here to create an intentional family culture. Relationships. So this is another example from our family, for Jair and I to have weekly dates and to sweat and laugh together every single day. We love to work out together and we have a lot of fun together. All right. And then time. What are the do's and don'ts for how you spend your time? How are you spending your time that you love? How are you spending your time that you don't love? So for me, writing, teaching, being here with you all, dancing, and watching my super babies do their thing is the most important thing that I do every day. And these are the things that I love the most, right? So these are examples of each of these 9 domains of life. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these domains one by one. So again, these are just some examples of things that you can be thinking about in the physical domain. So these are just examples. These are not exhaustive lists by any means. So health, fertility, and biological age and epigenetics, they're one and the same, right? Movement, fitness, results that make a difference today, but also doing the things that support your long-term health and vitality. Sometimes those things are in harmony with one another. Sometimes those things are in opposition with one another, right? So we need to think about both of those things: mental growth, learning, skills, your contribution, addressing mental blocks, limiting beliefs, habitual thinking errors, etc. Emotional, how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world, including managing the ups and downs of life? Because it's not whether there will be ups and downs, it's when there are ups and downs. And some of us ride those waves easily, and some of us suffer a lot as we ride the waves. And because life is the waves, if we can ride the waves more peacefully, life gets to be a lot better. And by the way, the HPA axis gets to be a lot healthier, and the full fertility and pregnancy system. By the way, we actually have a lot of research out of my lab and other labs showing that HPA dysregulation epigenetically programs a lot of problems in offspring. So that's in the trimester, during pregnancy. If mamas who are high in anxiety, have a lot of stress, there are a lot of consequences. So we have to learn how to ride the waves. I know it's easier said than done, but use your trimester tools. They're the best collection of tools that we have, and really use them. They're there, but if you don't open them, then it's not going to make a difference in your life. You got to use them. I know it's hard. I know everyone's busy, but again, we need to spend our time in accordance with our values, and that's something that we're gonna talk about in just a second. How do we want to show up as a mama and a wife or partner? What emotional hamster wheels have we been on for as long as we can remember that we're ready to finally exit? What boundaries do we need to set? Where do we need to create more safety in our lives? I'm going to show you a diagram about this. So this is this is what we call the fertility safety wheel. And remember, we were just talking about sending those signals of safety. So these are examples of different areas of our life and self where we often see our mamas, whether they're aware of it or not, having a lack of safety, and they really need to focus on creating more safety. So I'm showing this to you as an example so that when you do your emotional domain, you can think about where are the parts of your life or yourself where you need to create more safety. One thing that we see a lot is that there's often a lack of complete safety in relationships. So the person, let's say you're married and you're married to a man. I don't want to assume that anyone's married. I don't want to assume that anyone's in a heterosexual relationship. I'm just using an example. Let's say you're married to a man, and that's the person you're going to have your super baby with. But the reality is that there are a lot of ways in which you don't feel unconditionally loved and supported and accepted by that person. And in some ways you feel emotionally downright unsafe with that person, whether you've been aware of it or not. That's an example that we see very, very frequently, even in families and marriages that look really great. It's very interesting. All right. So if you want, we can send out the fertility safety wheel via email. We've sent this many times over the years, but we can send it out if you want. If you want to just put for safety, and we'll send it to you. All right. Okay. So spiritual, our beliefs, our faith. So it doesn't have to be a faith in God or any one thing. It's about believing in something that's beyond our sensory experience. Often that helps us make sense of the world around us or the feelings inside of us, having meaning and purpose, feeling peace and trust and connection to the inner world and inner knowing. Material, what do you want to have? What do you want to do? What do you want to experience? Because I grew up very poor, and I worked for a long time without any regard to how I was being compensated, because I was so motivated by impact, and I was so driven by the results that we were getting for families. And then I realized that I can't be the full person that I want to be in this lifetime if I don't have resources to work with. I can't have experiences that I want to experience. And that's really important. We don't talk about that enough, but it is all wrong to pretend that that's not important. Wealth, both objective and subjective. So in the scientific data, it's very clear that there are these two critical dimensions of wealth. It's how much money, let's use your salary. So how much money you make per year, that's your objective wealth. But how wealthy you feel is your subjective wealth, and that is shown to be even more important than your objective wealth beyond a certain point. Obviously, you have to be able to meet your basic needs for food, water, safety, housing, survival, but above and beyond that, and it's a pretty surprisingly low bar, the effect of subjective wealth is much more important. So think of it like this. Let's say you have the least nice house, or you're the poorest family in your neighborhood. You're going to feel a lot less wealthy than if you had the same exact house, but you have the nicest house in that neighborhood, because it's relative. Now, unfortunately, when we used to study this, we used to study it using this ladder measure that's really cool. If you want to see it, I can also share that with you. And we would think about your community, your neighborhood. But now, because we have access to millions of people every day, all day, through social media and the internet, other places on the internet, there's a much bigger pool of people to compare yourself to, which can also really harm well-being. And while we see it is really harming well-being, right? So this is important. What does financial security look like for you this year? What does financial freedom look like for you this year? What material objects would truly enhance your quality of life? So for me, that's a stand desk with a treadmill, because I haven't had one while we've been moving around for our son's football careers. And I really miss that. And I'm really feeling it from sitting so much while I'm working. I don't like it. I don't want to. So that for me, even though I've been waiting till we're in a kind of a home that we're going to stay in for some period of time, I'm not going to wait anymore. So that's an example. My example. It's different for you. What do you want your physical space to look and feel like? What do you want your physical location to be? Have you ever even questioned that? Do you like the neighborhood, the city, the state, the country that you live in? Business and career. What impact do you want to have? What problem do you want to solve? How can you uniquely solve that problem, or best solve that problem? What professional achievements would really matter to you this year? Family. Do you want to start a family? Do you want to complete your family? What intentional super family culture do you want to create? You're going to have a vision statement that's going to epitomize your family culture. What experiences do you want to have as a family? How can you strengthen the bonds within your family? Have the kinds of relationships and dynamic that you want in your family? How can you create more emotional safety within your family, unconditional loving kindness and acceptance? Because that's really what we all need, and our super babies need to feel completely emotionally safe, is to know that they're unconditionally loved and supported and accepted. And most of us didn't have the privilege of that experience. All right, relationships, intrapersonal relationships, that has to do with your relationship to yourself. Interpersonal relationships, your relationships with other people and also other beings, because for some people, pets are also really important relationships. Extra personal, so that's a higher power if you believe in one. Unconditional loving kindness and acceptance for yourself and specific others or the world. Relationships that inspire you. Collaboration, what kinds of relationships do you want to attract and nurture? What kinds of hobbies do you want and groups do you want to be part of to enrich your day-to-day life? For example, I remember Mama Rena and Dada Matt, they started playing pickleball, and that's been a really fun hobby for them, and also a way that they nurture their relationship to each other and their relationships with people they want to be close to and they want to spend time with. And it really lights them up when they talk about it. So that's just one example. Okay, time. How are you spending time in ways that you love? And that means with people and doing the things that you're doing. How are you spending time in ways that you dislike? How are you spending time in ways that are neutral? And this quote really stuck out to me. They said it a little differently. I'm gonna do like a more PG version of it, but if it's not a heck yes, it's a no. And I think that's really, really important, because we're all settling for too much. It doesn't mean we should be rigid. It doesn't mean we need to be divas or anything like that, but we've got to be really clear about how we want to spend and use this one beautiful lifetime that we have. Well, hopefully we have lots of lifetimes, but we don't know that. So the one that we know for sure we have, we want to really make the most of it. And like I said before, if we're not clear about our North Star, then life will pull us all over the place. People will pull us all over the place. It's not that it's not out of malice. It's not that they mean to, but it's just what happens. All right. Does my calendar reflect my values? So I said this at the very beginning. Be willing to go to uncommon lengths. It's okay to have to work hard. It's okay to have to do more than everybody else has done to get their super baby. It's okay. If you want something, you know in your heart you want something, then you can be willing to go to uncommon lengths to give your all to that thing. And you know what? There are no promises that even after we go to uncommon lengths that we will win. However, if we don't go to uncommon lengths, then we are almost certain to lose. We are almost certain to not get there. So be willing. It's okay. It's a myth that everything is supposed to come easy. And if it doesn't come easy, it's not meant for you. The things that mean the most in life require a lot of commitment, a lot of character to be willing and able to step up and wake up and step up every day and recommit at that level. And they require a lot of effort and courage, almost always. There, of course, are exceptions, but almost always, okay? Does my calendar reflect my values? Some weeks I look at my calendar and I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh my gosh, this does not reflect my values. Now, my super babies are at an age and their lives are already getting so big that their lives demand a lot of me and my schedule. And so by default, that now ensures that I'm almost always spending my time in accordance with my values, because if I'm not with FPI and super baby nutraceuticals or working on books, I'm with them and my hubby. And that's really, it's not a balanced life by any means, okay? But it is my life. It is the life I love because it is all the things I love. And in addition to that, I take care of myself. And those are really the only things that I do, but I'm content doing that. Everybody's life gets to be what's right for them. For me, that's what works. I don't need to be balanced and well-rounded. I am a mad scientist, all in on the work that I do, and I am a completely head over heels in love mama and wife, and want to be there for everything. So that's what matters to me. Okay. Where do I believe I don't have control in my life, in how I spend my time, in my schedule, that I can really interrogate, because sometimes that's just a limiting belief. Okay, so those are the 9 domains. So now you're going to have these 2 sets of guiding questions within each domain. Don't worry, I have a summary slide, so you're going to start to do some work. So if you don't yet have paper and a writing utensil, in just a minute, we're going to start doing a little bit of work time. You're going to go grab one, okay? So if I'm living my dream life 1 year from now without constraint, what does this part of my life consist of? And also, what does this part of my life not consist of? So you want to get clarity about what you're saying goodbye to, what you're leaving behind in 2024 and in the past, and what you're releasing. But you don't want to write it in the negative. So you want to reframe it using positive language, because remember, the brain and the body hook in to the positive sensory language. So without mental constraints becomes with complete mental liberty. And I'm going to show you an example of this error that we made once in our super family vision statement. I'm going to show you in just a second. Okay, the next set of questions are sensory questions. This is really important because of that hooking into training, that repetition to see, to feel, to experience the things that you want to. What does this part of my life look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like, sound like, smell like? Okay. These sensory words are very, very important. All right. So I see lots of messages. Let me just make sure that I think the team is taking care of all of this. Okay, lots of people want to see the fertility safety will, so I'll make sure in tomorrow's recap message that I send you that we send you a picture of that. But it looks like I think everybody else, that everything else the team is taking care of for you. Okay. All right, so now we begin. So what you're going to do is start to outline your super family vision blueprint. You won't finish it here today. So just start this in broad strokes so that you get down the categories and some key ideas that you want to include, so you can come back and finish this. And by the way, if you're partnered, I welcome and invite you to invite your partner to complete this with you. It's really fun to do it as a couple and to do it as a family once your super babies are starting to get a little bit older, which is how we do it now. Okay, so we have the 9 domains of life and self. And then we have the 2 categories of questions that guide us within each domain. So now I'm going to give you just, let's say, just 4 minutes to start to sketch out your 9 categories and the key points that you want to put under each. So go ahead, take the time to do that. I'm going to put a timer on, and if you don't have a writing utensil and a piece of paper with you, go grab one now, okay? All right, let me put the timer on. Mama Gergana is asking, can we share via email the presentation? I think we can share this one. We'll see. We decided not to share them anymore because very few people were actually going back to listen, and it's a lot of work for us because the recordings are so long. I'll check with the team. If we don't share the whole presentation, we'll at least share some screenshots so that you can continue the process. But I do think you probably need the presentation if you want to come back to certain things. So we'll give that a try, okay? So Mama Erica, so this is what we want, not current state. Exactly. It is what you want. And I want you to write it as if it has already happened, okay? And it doesn't have to be realistic either. Very important. All right. Yes, I totally get that, Mama Gergana. I totally get that. No worries at all. Let me see if I can share some beautiful music with you. I don't know if I joined the audio. I will try. Yes, Mama Julie, no worries. And Mama Jennifer, yes, absolutely. I think it's wonderful to do together. I completely agree. Well, I think we will make an effort to get this one shared. Team, please note, I'll need this process so we can send it out tomorrow or the next day, okay? Mm, I don't think you can hear my music if I just share it like this, but let me try it. I'm gonna share my playlist. Maybe you can put it on where you are. Yes. Here's my Super Baby playlist. If you want to click that link for Spotify while you're doing your work time. Okay, we're just about to stop now. Okay, it's okay. You're not gonna, you just needed to give yourself a general blueprint and not to worry because, as we said, we'll make sure we get this recording out to you. So now we're gonna go into step 2. So those are the 9 areas that you're going to focus on in your super family vision blueprint, which is your North Star for 2025. Now, this is the pinnacle of your North Star. It's like a one word, not one word, one sentence summary, a headline of your North Star so that you can always have it in the back of your mind. You can always have it with you, the feeling, having it be the driver for you moment to moment. So this is the vision statement. So I'm giving you a few examples of some from our family over the years. We live a life completely at home in comfort and ease with an elevated experience of wealth, freedom, and contribution without physical borders or mental constraints. Now, actually, this is an example of needing to modify the wording slightly to move from a little bit of negative wording, mental constraints, to more positive words. So here's how we revised it. We feel deeply and blissfully at home in our life of complete mental, physical, and financial freedom where ease, luxury, beauty, play, and contribution reign. Okay, so that was how we edited that one. Now, I wanted to show you some examples of our areas of focus or foci in our super family vision and how they evolved over the years. Because what's interesting is as you achieve the things that you're writing in your 9 areas for that make up your blueprint, as you write them as if they've already happened, then you will start to live them And it doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't always happen on exactly the same timeline, but you will bring elements of what you have intentionally mapped out into your life, and then you will grow and evolve, and some things will need to shift once you've achieved them. You'll see, well, I like this part, but this part doesn't fit us anymore, etc. So one year, these were some really big themes that emerged for us: spaciousness, boundlessness, adventure, travel to new places and countries that are aligned with our goals. This was specifically for football, soccer, for our son Luxor, who was 6 at the time when this became an area of focus, and our Apollo was only 1. And I already had an inkling that he was going to be a great soccer player also, but I didn't know if he would love it. So we were thinking about them both, but mainly driven by the request and desire of Luxor when he was 6. And he said to us, I'm going to be a professional football player. Take me to Europe to play. And we said, okay, let's start making plans to make this happen. So contribution and taking care of our community and putting everything back into FPI. So we were everything we made, we were investing back into FPI. We were investing in the research and development and testing of the supplements, which is a big undertaking for a self-funded company. So those were the areas of focus for us. Then, as we achieved those things over that year, the next year, we got some clarity about how we wanted to modify or how we felt differently. So we were more specific about travel. So we wanted to have adventures through awesome planned trips rather than living in many places, which we had lived in, I don't know, like 40 something Airbnbs for over a period of many years. The type of home that we wanted and where we wanted to have a home base outside of America, because Las Vegas is our home base in America. Fully transforming what's possible for how we spend our days and our relationship to effort. Expansion through learning out of curiosity and desire, and mastering our crafts. So languages, people, places, football, the different products we are developing, chunking days so that we're directly living our vision, determining whether our super family is complete. At that time, we were still thinking about having a 4th super baby. And I think if we'd stayed in America, we probably would have done it. But being on the road and living in so many places and working as much as I do, and the big lives and schedules of our super babies, it was never the right time. It was never the right time once we left America. Allowing FPI to nourish our family while giving and contributing to our village and the world, allowing FPI team capacity and impact to grow with more ease. So this was an evolution of, okay, we can't keep endlessly putting everything back into FPI and not ever raising our own standard of living. At some point, we need to also improve our own standard of living, because our standard of living was always, still is, very modest. Okay. All right. So that's just those are some examples of how you grow and evolve. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You might even notice that the evolution happens within the course of a year and that you want to update some things. All right. All right, so step 3. Now, this is your super family vision board step. So your super family vision board is the physical representation of your blueprint and your North Star. The blueprint is your North Star, your blueprint and the pinnacle of your North Star, which is your vision statement. It's almost like a company. Have you ever heard of a company has a mission statement, a vision statement, and then there's also something called a vivid vision? It's like a vivid vision, but for your life and for yourself and for your family. So what's important to know is that the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And so when we continue to see something visually in physical form, day after day after day, the brain come and the subconscious mind as well come to see that thing as normal, as standard in our lives, and it helps for that thing to actually become a norm in our lives, which is what we want when we're writing out the things that we want in each of those 9 domains, and we're writing them in the past tense as though they've already happened. All right, so the advanced move for your super family vision board is to include at least one thing that has already happened, because by mixing in things that have already happened with the things that you have planned out for the year, it's sending a signal to the brain even more that this thing is actually real, not just imagined. Okay, so what you're going to do is go back to each section of your super family vision blueprint, each of those 9 dimensions or domains of life, and you're going to think of an image and or words that represent that section. And then I want you to find those things in a magazine or online, cut them out or print them out and put them on your super family vision board. Now, because you don't have time to do all of this right now, what I want you to do is go back to where you wrote out those 9 dimensions and you wrote some of the key themes and desires for each of those dimensions. By each one, I just want you to put a word or write down and a word describing an image that represents that thing, so that you know exactly what to go and look for when you sit down later, either by yourself or with your partner if you're partnered, and you look through magazines or you look online on Pinterest or whatever, and you start printing or cutting them out to put on your super family vision board. Now, I recommend, if you haven't already gotten the thing that will be your super family vision board, that you get a combination cork board and blackboard. I used to do a whiteboard and cork board, but I like the blackboard better because I like the bright colors of the chalk markers more than I like the dull colors of the markers for the whiteboard. Do you know what I mean? The kind of the whiteboard markers that we use at the university. The colors are not very bright or beautiful. So I this year switched to a blackboard corkboard combo so that I could order these really bright chalk markers to write on the blackboard. Okay, so on the blackboard side at the top, you're going to write your super family vision statement, the pinnacle of your North Star. Okay, and then on the corkboard side is where you're going to use what are they called? Thumbtacks, push pins, thumbtacks, I think. I don't know why I'm missing the word suddenly. You're going to use thumbtacks. Yeah, thumbtacks to stick the pictures that you cut out or print out for each of the 9 dimensions on the corkboard on that side. So you can find on Amazon or other places a combination blackboard and corkboard. This year, because our family is large and because our super babies are older and they have a lot of things that they like to cut out, now I got them separately so that I could get bigger ones. So we have a separate blackboard and a separate corkboard so that each side is much larger, as opposed to if it's one thing that has half one, half the other. Okay, but do whatever's best for you. Whatever you love is perfect. Okay, there's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever, and it doesn't have to be done perfectly. If you don't have a cork board, one year we were traveling, we were in an Airbnb, and because we normally do this we do it over many weeks leading up to New Year's Eve for the year ahead, but we do the physical vision board on New Year's Eve. It's our New Year's Eve tradition. So we just got big poster board and we taped things on. You know, it wasn't as easy to put it up or as durable, but whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have some physical representation of your super family vision blueprint. and a reminder, a written out reminder of your pinnacle, which is your vision statement. Everybody following me so far? Okay, thank you so much, Mama Chanel. All right, everybody. So one thing, I just want to say this again. I've said it before. What you put in your blueprint and in your vision statement doesn't, and on your vision board, they don't have to be realistic. They don't have to seem possible. Okay, that doesn't matter. Possible is not up to you. Possible is up to whatever you believe in the universe, God, your higher power. All that matters is that you get clear on what you want and you take the steps that you know to take. Possible will be decided, but we have to put forth the vision and the effort. Okay? All right, the commitment. Commitment is the ultimatum. So I want you to not limit yourself by what does or doesn't seem realistic. And sometimes we have a partner who's very realistic and that, in fact, in science, in the psychological sciences, we know that optimistic people are not as realistic as pessimistic people, that pessimism is people who are depressed are often more pessimists, and that in some ways they have more realistic views of what's possible. But it's the people who believe in what's possible, even against all odds, that really often get to enjoy the most amazing results and the most amazing experiences in life. Okay, so we're not going to worry about whether it's realistic or whether it's possible. And if you have a very realistic partner, that's okay, but ask him to let you dream big and to dream big. Ask him, her, or them to let you dream big and to dream big with you. All right? Crazy talk. Engage in crazy talk in this process. And I want you to really trust yourself and your inner yearnings and where they lead you. So if you see something in a magazine that doesn't match up with something that you wrote down, but it just really calls to you, cut it out. Put it on your super family vision board, okay? I remember I once put a picture of Oprah in a garden. And then I got to meet Oprah that year. And I didn't know why that picture called to me, but I loved the garden and I love Oprah, and I put it on our super family vision board. All right. Okay, so that's the third step. Now we're going to move into the fourth step in just a second. Now, one more thing that I want you to do on your physical representation is on the chalkboard or whiteboard part, whichever you get, under your super family vision statement, which is the pinnacle of your North Star. Remember, I want you to write 3 categories for yourself, your partner if you're partnered, and for each of your super babies. And I want you to choose one word that describes that part of your life for the year. So what do you want to do for yourself? What do you want your contribution to look like, your legacy to look like this year? And what do you want most for your family? So these are some examples of what mine have been over the years. So pray, dance. I need to dance every day. I have to. Studying and speaking other languages and being able to switch back and forth and text and call and have meetings in those languages. Eventually being able to translate all of our work into those languages. Those are things that are really important to me as an individual that I want to be doing every day. Okay. Contribution. One year it was launching our supplements. Now this year it's getting our supplements, bringing them onto Amazon. Okay. Handing in my book manuscript and creating the app. But those aren't necessarily for this year, but they're examples of things that have been on mine. All right. The Amazon one is for me this year. Family, play, meditate, sleep deliciously. So those have been examples. So whatever you want. And you can let your partner do this for him or her or their self. And then if you have your super babies already with you, and you can talk to, no matter how old they are. We've done this with our super babies. I mean, they started talking at 6 months, so we could talk to, they could tell us, but they've always told us what they want their words to be. It's been really fun, actually. All right, so that's another thing that you're going to put on the written side of your physical representation. All right, now we're almost finished. This is the new part that we added this year, and it has been such a game changer. And the reason I had this idea to add this fourth step was because I thought to myself, what is the one thing that I could experience, feel like, and be on a daily basis that would make everything else better, happier, healthier, smoother, more easy, more fun? And if I could connect to that thing every single day in an interesting and fun way, I could just follow the script, then I would just be stacking up a beautiful year by stacking up those days, right? I remember Mama Danica Braisha, who's had 2 super babies with us. So both girls. By the way, super baby Billy Hart just turned 3. She said in our Super Fertility Summit, she was part of our summit, and that we released in July. And she said that a good life is really just a series of good days. So it's kind of like, it's very, not kind of, very much like that idea. So let me show you this. And by the way, I think it would have been a really daunting task to do it by hand, but there's a tool that you can use that makes it very feasible. So I'm going to show you this. Okay. So what's the thing that if you felt and experienced this daily, your entire life would be better? All of those 9 dimensions and everything that you could think of within them. So for many of you, that one thing is to feel and be more fertile, or let's take out the more, to feel and be fertile, super fertile. Similarly, for many of you, to feel and be safe, because safety is the foundation of feeling and being fertile. To feel and be happy, to feel and be financially expansive or secure, to feel and be loved, right? Those are some examples that will apply to a lot of you. So what I want you to do is to get a 365-day wall calendar like this. I just got ours on Amazon. And by the way, I said ours, but I did this for me. I also created a separate one for our family, but I have one for me as an individual that's in my office. Okay. So something like this, I got a more colorful one because I like color. And I also just ordered some, I don't know if you can see because I can't see myself, but some very colorful pens so that I could use different colors on it because I like color. I think it brightens things up. And I want you to put a word or a phrase for that one thing. So it's either a synonym or an extension of that one thing for every single day of the year. Okay. And like I said, this would be really hard to do by hand because it's a little daunting, 365 ways to say happiness or safety, but you can use ChatGPT to help you. It takes a lot of prodding. Sometimes I feel like ChatGPT is like a disobedient child, but actually that's funny that I said that because I never think children are disobedient, but it doesn't listen very well sometimes. But use it. You might have to iterate several times, but ask it to give you 365 words or phrases for whatever that one thing is for you. And then you write them in. And if you need to go month by month, if you can't do it all at once, that's fine. And then you can even take this one step further by adding in your wall calendar each day a simple activity or quote or affirmation or reminder to tap into that word or phrase. So every day you're tapping into a variation of feeling happy, of feeling safe, of feeling fertile, of feeling loved, of feeling expansive, of feeling free, of feeling confident, whatever that thing is for you, whatever you've been struggling with the most for the longest that you can remember, or that you're struggling with the most currently. So let's go with the example of fertile. So by the way, I've done 365 days of fertile. Maybe one day we should have like a mini course where if enough of you want to do fertile for your 365-day calendar, maybe we should do like a mini half-day retreat, and we should actually do it together, because I've already mapped it out. If you would want that, just put virtual retreat in the chat, and then we can decide if we can fit that in, okay? All right, so fertile belly, flourishing, thriving, generative, fertile timing. These are just a couple of examples. So then let's say you have your 365-day wall calendar, and you put those words in the first 5 days. And then under that, you put a specific thing that you're going to do that day. All you have to do is look at the calendar and follow the script. Obviously, that doesn't mean every day will go perfectly. It doesn't mean every day will go as planned, but you will really tap into that state of feeling and that state of being, and you will consciously connect to it and do the thing every day. So here are a couple of examples of something that you can put to do each day. Something simple. It's not making life complicated, nothing like that. So for fertile belly, so think about this. Imagine you're taking your supplements. I usually have a bottle of my supplements, my super multi right here. I don't have it right next to me, but let's say in the morning, after breakfast or with breakfast, you're taking your super egg support, and you put one hand on your heart and one on your womb, and you visualize each nutrient really targeting every egg cell and every other cell of your body, and nourishing and spreading this beautiful white light into your cells that will make your future super baby. And then affirm, my body is perfectly prepared for fertility through nourishment and conscious action. So that's an example. Or thriving, celebrate your commitment to your supplement routine and your trimester, and at night list 3 ways that you supported your fertility that day. Affirmation, I'm thriving on my way to my super baby through dedicated preparation, nourishment, and a trusting heart. Fertile timing, each evening you say out loud, so this is the affirmation as well, the perfect people, resources, and understanding come to me in perfect timing. I always think of this concept that Deepak Chopra teaches about called synchrodestiny. And it's the idea that everything that you need and want will find you, will come to you in the perfect timing. I always think of synchrodestiny when I think of us and our community, because in this world of almost 8 billion people, somehow we are here together. That is a miracle in and of itself. You found your way here, and I, through craziness, found my way to you, right? Through such darkness as a child, I still managed to find my way to you. So, and I want you, when you say that to yourself, feel the safety signals that it creates in the brain, the body, the ovaries, the vagina, all right? The home, your uterus, the home to your super baby. Okay, so last thing, and then we're gonna wrap up. Although I'll stay a little bit longer to take questions. Okay, so now the last part of this is organizing your inner world in support of your vision. Well, by connecting daily to your calendar and that physical representation of your vision, that is your super family vision board, you are helping to organize and align your inner world in support of that vision. But I want to also just tell you a couple of other things that I want you to lean into, especially in hard moments, but also as a regular practice so that your brain becomes trained to be this way. So I want you to first know that you are more than your mind. Don't let your mind carry you away. You don't have to listen to everything your mind says, because for most people, 80% of the time, the mind is on repetition and most of it is negative. You do not have to follow the spiral and the constant loops that your mind is in if they are not serving you. Okay? We don't solve problems by worrying about them. But most of us spend a lot of time worrying about the things that are not going well or could go wrong, right? So I want you to know that our thoughts are our number one epigenetic input, because each thought, just like each nutrient you put inside of you, is information. And it sends a biochemical signal. And those 80% of the time, repetitive, often negative thoughts are not sending the right biochemical signals of safety, okay? So I want you to really focus on retraining the way that your brain behaves as a default. Break your addiction to being your current self. If you've struggled with feeling confident and feeling worthy and setting boundaries for as long as you can remember, you don't always have to be that way. Enough, it's just enough is enough, and I'm going to intentionally become someone else by reminding myself every day to be that thing and putting down concrete actions for myself on my calendar that allow me to embody that thing and practice becoming that thing, because that's how we become something, through repetition. Okay, that's how we've become the things that we wish we didn't continue to struggle with, but that's also how we become the things that are just very natural and wonderful for us. Okay, choose happiness, recommit each day to what you want for yourself, and notice when and how you lose presence. Are there certain people that you spend time with where you don't like who you become, or you lose presence, certain activities, etc. And then using tools that allow you to be centered and present and mindful where you are in the moment. So meditation is a really good tool for that. You have your fertility tapping and the Primester protocol, and your alternate nostril breathing, and a whole toolkit of other tools that you can use for that as well in the Primester. Okay. Now, I want you to also spend time to, as you're working on your super family vision blueprint, to really excavate your limiting beliefs and blind spots. And we all have them. Sometimes they're reinforced by the people closest to us, and sometimes they're challenged by the people closest to us. Reframe those limiting beliefs as empowering beliefs and strengths, and develop concrete action steps. So this can also be part of the blueprint that you're creating, as well as the wall calendar, the date. Think of the wall calendar as the day-by-day plan that you're creating for yourself. You're just going to work the plan, right? And then using what we call TTC as tools, training, connection, accountability, and support. Those are really the critical elements of applying something new and being able to be consistent in implementing those things. Use your Primester to do that, okay? That's a really great tool. It covers all of these things. Tools, training, connection, accountability, and support. And yeah, I think that's everything that we were, that's everything that we were meant to cover today. All right, so we will, tomorrow, I'll send out a recap email. I'll include the fertility safety wheel in the email so that you have that. I want you to really look at that, by the way, and really ask yourself honestly where in the wheel you don't feel 100% safe in your life, and allow that to help guide your decisions in your blueprint in your vision statement, and also in your day-to-day embodiment of that through your calendar and the words and activities represented there. Okay. Now, we'll do that tomorrow. We will also try tomorrow to send the link to the recording. If it's not, if we haven't finished processing by tomorrow, we'll send it the next day. I think that should be realistic that we can do that. If I'm wrong, team, tell me so I don't make a mistake and tell people something that we can't actually do. I want to make sure I have, I commit to something that we can do for sure. All right, so now let me see. Mama Katarzynia, hi Mama, hi Dada Norbert. So Mama Katarzynia says, great book to learn is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I've seen it. It's a really big book, I think, right? I haven't read it, but I think it sounds really interesting. Thank you so much for that. You're so welcome, Mama Gergana. All right, any questions for me? Any family questions, life questions, business questions, career questions, anything that you want me to talk a little bit about before we wrap today? Let's see. You're so welcome, Mama Diane. I'm so happy. Yeah, I really love this process every year. And as we were closing 2024 and coming into 2025, I started the process many weeks ahead, and I did it over the weeks, very slowly, and I did it very methodically, had a really beautiful, expansive experience. I learned some really interesting things about, well, so for example, in my wall calendar, so I have the theme and the daily kind of variations on that theme. But I also, for each month, have a new language that I want to focus on learning. Some I already speak, but some I don't. And as well as a new type of dance. So, because I love dancing so much, and I love cultures so much. So I like learning types of dance from different countries, different cultures. And so I have on my calendar at the top of each month, I also have the language that I'm focused on that month and the form of dance that I'm focused on that month. I also have like a part of the body that I'm focused on really focused on focusing on for training for that month. So that's maybe more than you want to get into, but for me, it was a really incredible experience of how do I really want to like just really fully live and experience the year ahead. And it's been so beautiful and such a beautiful guide for me. All right, let's see. You're so welcome, Mama Erica. Okay, so it looks like a lot of you would really like to do a session where we do the calendar for fertility. Is that right? Or maybe you just want to come and do your own. Although if we each were doing our own, it might be a little bit harder for me to kind of walk you through. Let me know. Do you all want to do fertility? I think it's a really powerful thing. I'm finding it to be so powerful for myself. Mine's obviously not fertility, but I find it to be really powerful. Okay, so Mama Sarah says the fertility calendar. Mama Erica says yes. Mama Michelle says yes. Okay, Mama Julie, yes. Mama Robin, thank you so much. Dr. C, you're such an inspiration and blessing. Oh, thank you so much, Mama Robin. I really appreciate that. Mama Deborah, are you here? Hello, welcome. So happy you're here. Yes, Mama Erica, yes. And fertility can also be finances, fertile ground, and business. Actually, we have that because I already did the 365 days, and we have it's like, fertile abundance. There's a lot of variation in the theme, but just the feeling of richness, of You know, it's almost like fertile soil where anything can grow and everything can blossom and flourish. That's how I really think of it. Your super baby, your eggs, your sperm, yourself, your finances. Exactly, exactly. Let's see, Mama Katarzynia. Okay, for Mama Jennifer. Yes, hello, Mama Deborah. So happy you're here. Mama Robin. Okay, let me see. Yes, Mama Ani or Annie, are you going to send the emails with the remaining nutrients? You've only received 1 to 39 of 84. Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. So yes, I have already written them for you, but we took a kind of a detour because we started to I started to focus on reminding you about super family vision. And then I wanted to tell you about the super sperm and testosterone support. So we will come back to going through the remainder of the 84 nutrients and probiotic species. Yes. And then I also will probably do something similar for the sperm nutrients as well. So yes, thank you. We have not forgotten. We still have all of that for you. I think it's really, really important. So let's see. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Mama Julie, Mama Dawn, Mama Annette, Mama Erica, Mama Alana, Mama Erica. How do you address fear when it comes to investing in yourself and going through to uncommon lengths, especially when making financial investments on coaches, health protocols, etc.? Any advice you can give on this would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance. So I think that's a great question. And I think that people talk about people have a lot of fear of investing in themselves. Some people are aware that they have that fear and some people aren't. And I think it's because it's actually not very commonplace for people to invest in themselves. When you look at the average person and the average way someone is living, they're not investing in themselves because investing in yourself requires having a vision that's bigger than the reality facing you right now. Being willing to commit and go to uncommon lengths, being willing to be uncomfortable, and often being willing to go against the grain of society and what everybody around you is doing and everyone before you has done. And you will get a lot of criticism and pushback and all of those kinds of things. So I think it's really hard. You know, hi, Papa. I'm on a workshop. Do you come say hi to the mamas? Yes. You got new boots for football? Come say hi to the mamas and then I need to finish. So you'll show me later. Say hi.
Hello.
He's showing you his new boots or cleats. By the way, kicks. Apollo Golden is 6 years old and he scores goals like crazy. He's a lefty, he's left-footed and right-handed, but he scores goals like crazy. He's often the captain. Okay, so mommy's finishing up and then I'll come down to see you, okay? I love you so much. I love you. Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. So I didn't lock the door. Sorry about that. Okay. So I think one thing that really helped me was to know that it's okay if I'm not like everybody else. And in fact, I really prefer, okay, cool. I really prefer to not live like everybody else necessarily. I want to see what's possible. And in order to see what's possible, I can't do what everybody else is doing. And I also can't worry about other people's opinions of me. And that's really hard. It's really hard. I think, especially for somebody like me, I didn't have a mother to give me unconditional love. I had no safety net. Like if it didn't go well, I was, in big trouble, right? So the risks felt really big and really scary. But I just decided I'm going to bet on me in life. It's really the best bet we have. And I think we just have to come back to that. Yes, it's scary at moments. No, it's not the easy way. Yes, it's the path less traveled. But I think that we just always have to come back to, if I'm going to believe and buy into anything in my life, it's going to be me. And I really, really want to model that and teach that to my super babies. So I always tell them, like, you are the thing to be. You are the thing to believe in. You are the answer to your dreams. You are the source of your dreams. And I think that we have to be that in order to model that. So, it's okay to be afraid, but don't let fear stop you from living the beautiful life that you desire and having the beautiful family that you desire. And by the way, succeeding comes with a lot of failure. Remember how I said that it's not whether there are ups and downs, but when, and that life is waves. And those of us who can weather the waves more easily get to have an easier, happier life. Like Apollo Golden, who you've just seen. This kid, like every wave is an exciting adventure. There's like no stress. It's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me. We've got to try to condition ourselves and our brains to be that way as much as possible, and to be okay with weathering the waves, and that includes some failure. Okay, so it will include some failure, but it will also include a lot of great blessings, really great blessings. I would say, don't let trying to be perfect or trying to not make mistakes or trying to run from fear stop you from being great. That's really what I would say. And I've never seen a better investment in the world than to invest in myself, because every time I invest in myself, my capacity grows, and then what I can turn around and create from that capacity is breathtaking. And so I just keep investing in myself over and over and over again. And I'm really glad that I do. So, take the risks, and it's okay to be afraid, but do it anyway. I do a lot of research, I ask a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, I follow my gut. I really do. Mama Diane. My thyroid medication bottle says no calcium, iron, antacids for 4 hours taking my thyroid med. Is it still okay? Is it okay to skip super multi at breakfast, but take 3 super multi at lunch and 2 super multi at dinner? Absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, for all of you who are on thyroid medication, it's best not to take anything else within an hour. Sometimes people say 30 minutes, but an hour to be safe of your thyroid medication. So most of you are taking, if you're taking thyroid medication, obviously you're taking it as prescribed. But for most people, that is, taking it in the morning on an empty stomach and then waiting an hour to have food and other supplements. So that's absolutely fine. You can if you don't have to wait 4 hours, you can take them with your food when you have food an hour later. And if you need to have 4 hours, then wait until lunch. That's perfectly fine. And you can take them anytime. I sometimes, if I didn't get to take them earlier in the day, I'll even take them all at once with dinner. But normally I split the dosing, just because I like to kind of split the effects, because they're so, so, so powerful. The super multi, for those of you who don't know, is our version of a prenatal vitamin, and you need to take your prenatal in the trimester. And this super multi it used to be a bundle of 5 different bottles. Everything, well, except for the certain probiotic strains, which we have separate, are now all in that super multi, and then with a number of enhancements, including that we included all of the full RDVs in those capsules for the foundational nutrients. And then it has other enhancements, like a very concentrated DHA with APA, that's the equivalent of 1 full gram. It has very concentrated choline, because these nutrients are so, so important for your fertility and for your super baby. So basically, Super Multi is the most potent prenatal vitamin, and you want to be taking that throughout pregnancy and postpartum and breastfeeding, but you also want to take it in the trimester, because we consider the trimester, the period before conception, as an extension of the pregnancy. Now, with this super egg support, for example, if you are taking the super egg support, now in my ideal world, I would have been able to combine the super multi and the super egg support into one, so that you only had one bottle, and it would have ended up being, about 16 capsules. Maybe we could have gotten it to 15 and still include everything, but probably 16 capsules, but that's all you would need for the super multi and the super egg support to have one bottle. The problem is that we couldn't do that because the super egg support you use in the trimester for your egg cells, but and your ovarian reserve, your AMH level, but you stop it once you get your positive pregnancy test. That's why we kept them. That's why I decided to keep them separate. Now, if we have enough people who would like for them to be combined to further streamline the process, because my entire goal with Super Baby Nutraceuticals is to make sure that you have the exact nutrients you need in the exact forms, and also to make taking them as easy as streamlined as possible, and to help you save money, space on your counter or in your cabinets, and save time. Because imagine, so Super Egg Support now has 39 ingredients in it. Imagine if you took each of those ingredients individually. It would be about $1,800. I have the exact estimate because we've actually run those analyses, and it would require 39 different bottles that you have to open and close at least one time a day, but some of them you would need to take 2 to 3 times a day to get the dosage that you need. Do you know that how many hours that ends up adding up to in a day? It's actually really, really interesting. So even though it seems like super egg support, super multi, super sperm and testosterone support are very expensive, they're actually incredibly streamlined in terms of pricing for the number of nutrients and the doses and the forms. And then you also save the counter and cabinet space. If you're traveling, there's no way you can take 40 bottles with you, but you can take one with you, right? You can even put it in your bag if you want to take it with you during the day, although it's a big bottle because you have to take a number of capsules every day. And then you only have to open and close one bottle, so it saves you a ton of time. So yes, that's just a little bit of information about the formulations and the super multi specifically that Mama Diane asked about. So I recommend split dosing, meaning that instead of taking all the capsules for the day at once, that you divide them. And we have kind of a Cliff's Notes version, pictures of how you take them. But there's no harm if you need to take them all at once, or you take them, over a fewer times in the day, etc. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Any other questions? Yeah, I'm so happy to see you, Mama Deborah. Let's see. Oh, you all the sweet messages for Apollo. I'll save them for him. Oh my God, I wish for all of you someone he's so happy. I call him the most satisfied human on the planet. Like it's so much fun, it so makes life so fun. It's beautiful. Let's see, Mama Jennifer, really identifying with what you're saying. Mama Sarah, it seems easier to chart progress, success in career settings. How do you think about measuring intangible progress? Oh, it's so true. But I think the ultimate measure is how you feel. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, right? Like I was just using the example of Apollo, and everything is an exciting adventure. And so because that's how he feels, that's what it is. So at the end of the day, all that really matters is how you feel. And the more you can feel good, the more you can feel calm, the more you can feel happy, the more you can feel healthy. I think that's the ultimate measure. So that's exactly why I I suggest that you add this additional part of the calendar, because whatever that one thing is for you, if you feel that and experience that to any degree consistently on a daily basis, every day, 365 days in a year, will make every other part of yourself and your life better, happier, more fun, more easy, more in flow, make you a better partner, a better mama, a better professional, better to yourself, then that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And I think that you can feel, that you can really feel, and that's how you measure the progress. I also had a period of time, I was going through a really difficult time personally, not in our family. Everyone was doing great, but I was suffering a lot on the inside for a couple of different reasons. One of them, and I think this is, I'll share it because I think it's helpful and I think it's relevant to a lot of people. One of them was that I realized that I had this belief that was faulty, which was because my life had been really hard and heavy and dark when I was younger. I thought that that's what made life hard. And I had this belief that once I reached a certain level of achievement, of financial uh, freedom, I have an amazing partner, I have amazing super babies, that life wouldn't feel hard, that everything would feel easy. And then I realized, like, that's not true. There's never a time when, no matter who you are, no matter what you've accomplished, that life doesn't have challenges and that things about life don't feel hard. That is always part of life. But I was taken by surprise because I didn't know that, because I only knew that life was hard because life was like objectively really hard. And so I think I was suffering because I wasn't living up to that expectation. So that was one part of it. There were a number of things. I had the worst um, experience I'd ever had in my life with a friendship, and the worst experience I had ever had in my life with um, a person professionally. And these two things had really big impacts as well. So there were a number of things that were happening, but I was really, really, really struggling at that time. And I think that ultimately what I could see was that when I knew I was making progress, it wasn't necessarily that the circumstances had changed, but that how I felt about them changed, and my reaction, and how much of a reaction they could get from me changed. So I really think it's about how you feel at the end of the day. But at this time, what I started to do was track how I felt every day to try to understand more about myself. So that could be something that you do on your 365-day calendar as well, like rate your happiness level. And when you see more days in a row of 7+, you've made progress. So I think other people close to you will also notice when you just seem lighter and happier and freer. But ultimately, it comes down to how you feel. Another thing that's been really helpful is just to really relinquish the idea that I'm responsible for making anybody like me or happy with me. It's hard when you are out in the public eye and the livelihood of your company is dependent upon how much people like you. I feel like it's so much easier to not worry if people like you if you're, an actor and they're not the ones, providing for your business. But at the end of the day, that vulnerability was a source of stress for me and wasn't entirely an accurate belief. And even if it was, I just decided this is not going to be my life experience. I'm not here, for people to like me. If they don't like me, that's fine. And I think that really helps. Ultimately, you've just got to feel good with you and about you. And when you're running all over the place trying to make other people like you and other people happy, you're just depleted. And I really learned that with my family of origin. So that thankfully I was able to carry over pretty easily as more and more people have come to know me. Let's see. Hi, Queen Cleopatra. May I know, should I do detox or parasite cleansing first if I suspect my gut is having issues before taking all the supplements, at least for 2 weeks? Mama Camila, you don't have to, but you can. And in the Primester protocol, there's a systemic deep scrub that you can follow. And there's like a simplified version and then a more elaborate version. And the simplified version, you do 3 cycles of fasting mimicking 3 months in a row, which gives us a 2.5-year on average jumpstart in biological age reduction, which is what we're seeking. And when we're primestering, we're using the nutrients, we're providing the nutrients, and we need to fill any nutritional gaps and expand our nutritional profile. Most of us aren't getting enough of what we need, and certainly not enough variety and specialized nutrients. But we also need to use the nutrients to reduce the biological age of our egg cells and our sperm cells, which is one of the primary mechanisms whereby the super egg support and super sperm and testosterone support work. So you could, and with certain types of detoxes, you would pause on your supplements because you want to give your system, part of the detoxification process is that you're giving your system somewhat of a rest from digesting things, but also with the fasting mimicking, you're eating, but you're eating at a level that goes below the nutrition sensing pathways in the body. And it's probably okay to take supplements, but the problem is the clinical trials don't include additional supplements. So we don't want to take the chance that it's interfering with the benefits. So we pause for those 5 days, okay? Let's see. Mama Robin, if you already have access to the Primester protocol, then you have it. You have lifetime access. So maybe you just need to reset your password if you don't remember the login credentials. Team, can you, you already addressed that. So sorry. Okay. That wasn't necessary. Let me see. Mama Annette, I love you so much. You are so generous and I love you just as you are. Perfection is not why I love you, but your heart is. Thank you for your contribution. I'm so happy that you are part of my fertility and pregnancy journey. Mama Annette, I'm going to cry. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. I think that's everything, Mama Camila. You're so welcome for the attention. So good to be with you all. Now, remember, okay, so we'll send out the recording. We'll aim for tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then give us a little bit of grace. We'll get it out to you the next day. I'll send you a recap tomorrow with some images, the image I promised you. And then next week, we're going to do a session because last week we had a session on sperm cell components and how they interact with and change egg cell components during and after fertilization. We were talking about sperm perimeters And we had so many questions. People wanted to only really talk about nutrients. I ended up spending the whole time answering questions people had about super egg support, super sperm, and testosterone support. We didn't get to cover the material I prepared. So next week, we're going to cover that material. So come back and see me next week. We'll send you a Zoom to sign up so that you can join. And then we have a lot of people who want to do the half day. So we'll send out a link there. We might have to do it as like a mini course where we charge for it. I have to think through that, but if we do, it'll be a very, we'll try to make it a pretty nominal fee. So let us work on that and get something scheduled. We got to do that sooner rather than later though, right? Because we need to do that early in the year. So team, I want to revisit that maybe tomorrow or Friday so we can get that. Let's see. Oh, you're gonna be working, Mama Julie. Thank you, Mama Erica. I echo on that sentiment. Thank you for being you. I can feel how much you truly care. It's so amazing to have you on our side. Thank you all so much. So I have to say, because I've like really worked hard to not worry if like people say some really mean things sometimes, but it still means the world to me when I get these messages. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you very much. It's really such an honor to be with you. In a perfect world, we would only be here just because we want to make the most amazing super babies we can, and nobody would be struggling. That would much be my preference. And yeah, that's not where the world is right now. And I'm just so thankful that my life path called me here to all of you. So yes, it's so true. One of the funniest things someone said to me was to go back to the pyramids. It was really funny. I was like, really? And it was actually a politician who said it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought, they would need to conduct themselves better publicly, but I guess not. And you know what? It's like I said, I've gotten so used to it and it doesn't bother me anymore. In fact, my husband, it's so funny. He really celebrates when that happens because he's like, the more haters you get, the more impact your work is having. So let's celebrate. So that's how we treat it now. And we also prepare our super babies for that because Luxor and Apollo are on their way to being some of the greatest footballers ever. I believe that with all my heart. And Sultana Bliss is out there performing and doing her thing. And so, we just tell them there are people who are going to love you. There are people who are going to hate you. And that's totally okay. So I'm I've really come to be so peaceful with it all, but it still means the world to get your beautiful messages. All right, so I will wrap. We did close to 2 hours, so that's good. We stayed on time, and I will see you next week. We're gonna do the material that we had planned for last week. I have great material ready for you, so be there if you can. I send you warmest wishes. I send you my unconditional loving kindness team. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting the mamas so much. I really appreciate it. I love you all too. Thank you, Mama Erica, so, so, so much. And I'll see you again next week, okay? Go out and have a beautiful day, a beautiful rest of the week, and I'll see you next Wednesday, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll plan to be together. We'll send you a link so that you can join, okay? Yes, thank you so much, Mama Katarzynia. Thank you, Mama Julie. Thank you, Mama Robin. Thank you, team. I've saved the chat so I can look again at all your beautiful messages. Have a great rest of the day. Send me updated videos and pictures of your super babies. Send me pictures of your super family vision boards, your calendars. I want to see all of it. I want to see how you're progressing and what you're creating, and have fun with it. Okay. All right. I'll see you next week. Have a great day. I'll see you on email tomorrow, of course, as well. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye, team. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.